Everybody, welcome to another episode of the Fair Chase Podcast. Before we start this episode, we're going to again take a little time to thank a little bit of the people who help make this show possible.
First up is 2O Gear. It's a new brand that we just started partnering with. They make awesome high-end technical hunting clothes, camo. And so they're based in Michigan, and new company. We've tested them for months. I tested them in the whitetail season last year.
Great merino base layers.
Yep, great
awesome
merino
shells.
base.
Awesome new pattern.
A great system for going out west, but we'll use it a ton in the whitetail woods too. So really excited to work with them. 20gear.com. Go check them out. Next up is Worldwide Trophy Adventures. It's an awesome, basically, connection to outfitters all over the world. So as a lot of people know, good hunting ground is really hard to come by. And oftentimes the best way to ensure that you're going to get in a good spot, or maybe you need to legally have a guide, is to go through an outfitter.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as you might know if you've heard us before, we've had good experiences and bad experiences with outfitters. Which means, in order to ensure you're going to have a good experience, you have to do a ton of research, you have to talk to people, it's just a lot of messing around. Worldwide Trophy Adventures, or WTA, does a lot of this work for you at no charge. So by booking your trip through WTA, you can rest assured that you'll be in a good location with a reputable outfitter that they've certified and endorsed. If you're looking to book a trip of a lifetime like I am, just headed to a moose hunt here through WTA, you're going to want to check them out. Go give them a call. Actually, I have the number right here. It's 1-800-346-8747, or check out their website at worldwidetrophyadventures.com.
All right, so we love TrophyLine. They offer more than just saddles. Believe it or not, they have their own climbing sticks. They've got platforms. They've got a ton of extra
packs.
gear. They've got packs. They've got everything.
Knee pads.
Everything that you're going to need to be a saddle hunter, they have it. So if you want to start saddle hunting this year and get into the game like everyone else and really love hunting even more, go to TrophyLine, check it out, use the code TFC10 to save yourself 10% on that purchase.
We're big bow hunters. Sights, quivers, stabilizers, those kind of things are really important if you're going to have a deadly setup. And so we've tried a lot of different companies in the industry, and we've kind of figured out that we really like Redline gear the best. So we are shooting their torch sights this year.
It's a really cool sight. There's a lot of good micro adjustments you can make. You can customize a lot of the stuff on there. Really make it your own.
The chargeable USB rechargeable light is
really
sweet.
Cool.
And so we're huge fans of their stuff. We use them all the time. It's worth going to check them out. Check out Redline. Use the promo code TFC10 for 10% off your purchase, and let us know what you think. We love them.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Fair Chase Podcast.
I was going to say, that's pretty close to what I say every time. I was just hoping you had some new idea.
And welcome. No, that's how another podcast does it that I listen to.
We just start mid-sentence. Some podcasts do that.
We used to do that.
Yeah, we would. Until we locked it up. Anyways, we got Ryan here today. Ryan's from Christensen Arms. Actually, normally at this point in the show, I'll do a live ad read. But I figure, Ryan, I'm going to put you on the spot and just let you roll with it. And why don't you do the ad read today? Like, what do we talk? What's the special right now?
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. So, of course, Brian with Christensen Arms, and we've got a national promo running right now that's a pretty smoking deal. So if you go on our website, right there on the homepage, you'll see a banner. It's got all the logistics of the program. But in a nutshell, there are a bunch of our rifles that qualify for the promotion. So it's super simple. You go to your local gun shop, big box retailer, whatever. You purchase a qualifying Christensen Arms rifle. On our website, we've got a really simple form that you can download. Just put some simple information, fill that bad boy out, and then mail it into us with your original receipt for your rifle. We'll go through and verify the purchase, and then once that's done, we actually take that information, upload it, and then you get an automated email with a gift card code. And those go all the way up to $750. That's been extremely popular. We've had a ton of people come in and submit their purchases. And it's awesome because it helps you gear up for hunting season and get stuff that you really need. And it's not just, apparel. We've got some awesome premium apparel, things like that on our website. But we really wanted to make sure that it had the most value for our customers. So we partnered with Loophole, and we've got a couple different models of Loophole optics on there. Our friends over at Half Face Blades have made some really insane custom knives with our logo etched into them. If you haven't seen those, they look sick. We got a couple into the office today that I was just oogling. Let's see, we've got Uncharted Supply. We've got some survival gear on there, first aid kits. Gosh, what else? Mystery ranch packs, which is an insane value. A lot of people are taking advantage of those. And then we've just got some awesome stuff that we always keep in stack. So scope rings, mounts, things like that, as well as Spartan bipods that have always been top sellers for us. People are loving those. So yeah, that runs through the end of October. It's a fantastic promo. Like I said, people seem to be loving that. We've got a lot of great products moving. And if there's anybody that's out there listening, it's on the fence, maybe looking at getting a new rifle, that is going on through the end of the month. So go get you a Christensen Arms rifle.
Yeah, that's a sweet deal. We're huge fans of the Christensen Arms. You got me. I went to Half Face Blades, and they're pretty sweet knives. Like, these are pretty sweet looking, like hardcore looking knives. Anyways, yeah, that's sweet. Sweet deal. We love our Christensen rifles. I finally got to put it to the my FFT to the test on a moose, which we still haven't released the story of that. We haven't even recorded the story yet. Jared's not even heard what happened on that hunt yet. He just knows that I got a moose. So
Yep.
I've been living a lie around him for a long time. So no, that's cool. Yeah, lots of cool stuff to do this year, and we're doing a lot of it with Rifle in Hand. So we're excited to have you here. So one thing, actually, I'm hoping you have some background into this, but as I've done these ad reads for Christensen, I've been wondering about this like carbon barrel, right? Is that you guys? I mean, it sounds like you're the ones that came up with that, but like, tell me about why you'd want a carbon barrel, or what that's about.
Yeah, that's a great question. And a lot of people don't know Christensen Arms actually came out with the first carbon fiber barrel. That was back in 1995. So the Christensen family has roots in the aerospace industry. They were getting into all sorts of cool aerospace components. Let's get you in zoom there. Yeah, and just playing around with different things, and they're big hunters. So they said, hey, what happens if we contour down some stainless steel and then wrap it in carbon fiber? And lo and behold, it worked. So company's coming up on our 30-year anniversary. So we've been doing it for a long time. The way that we do the carbon barrel is different than a lot. You'll see some out there that are like a carbon tension barrel. So it's like a sleeve that's actually tensioned around the steel. Nothing wrong with that. I think a lot of people see those and think, oh, it's a carbon fiber barrel. Ours are not that. We've got a multi-directional wrap that's really unique to Christensen. And why you would want a carbon fiber barrel, first and foremost, it looks cool. Let's just be honest about it. It looks awesome when you see that rifle. People see the Christensens and they're like, man, that looks awesome. Extremely lightweight, just like our rifles. You mentioned the FFT flash forge technology. That's our kind of revolutionary new carbon fiber manufacturing process. Super lightweight, super strong. But some of the things about the carbon fiber barrels is they dissipate heat really well because it spreads the heat out along the barrel.
Yeah.
So as you're shooting, I mean, any barrel's going to heat up, but they dissipate heat really nicely. And I forget, it's like 4 to 5 times stronger than steel with the carbon wrapped around the steel. So you get really great strength, great rigidity, great barrel harmonics. I mean, it's just a fantastic barrel. And that's really what helps contribute to like our sub MOA guarantee is almost all of our rifles carry a sub MOA guarantee. So they're highly accurate, but yeah, those are just kind of some of the reasons you might look for a carbon fiber barrel.
Yeah, you made me look, and I don't know why I'm fuzzy right now on my camera. I cannot get it to. I've been putting my fingers like it's focused close, and look at that, blurry. Doesn't matter.
You suck.
Maybe I'm just blurry. There's like a comedian who talks about Bigfoot, and he's like, maybe Bigfoot's just blurry. No one can get a clear picture. Maybe that's just how he is. What you made me look good with the sub MOA. We got to. This is not going to ruin the story, Jared, but we get to moose camp, and we're just checking our rifles. And so the guy that I'm there with, is shooting his, and he's having problems with it. It's just shooting funny, and we're not sure if it's in his head at some point or if it's his rifle, and other guys are shooting it, and then it gets too hot and everything else. And so finally they're like, oh, all right, James, you want to head up and take a shot to see where you're at. And I'll say I hunt a lot. I'm not like a highly trained marksman, right? So, as a kid, I was handed a 30-30. I was handed a 22 at like 8. I think I had a 20 gauge available uh, at like 12, and then when I turned 14, I got my 30-30. But that was it. Like I hunted with the 30-30 forever. Didn't really spend a whole lot of time long distance shooting. So, anyways, I get set up and get my rifle set up, and I shoot, and like I literally could not have hit more center of the X. Like literally, it was like you went up and put a pencil through it. And it was a lot
awesome.
of it was pressure in that moment because I'm like, first of all, everybody's watching me. I don't know the guides; they're like kind of hardcore guides, and I'm just showing up, and like I feel like that sets the tone. So the other guy was all shook too, and I was like, man, I don't want that to be me, and it worked out pretty well. So I think it could have just been total blind luck, which is fine, but at least it was like one good shot. I had to take one shot, and I was good.
At what
That's
distance
awesome.
now? You got
only 100 yards. It wasn't a long shot, but it was just like, are you dialed? And I'm like,
Sure.
man, what if I'm not? And then it's like, what if I just suck at shooting? And all of a sudden everybody knows I'm a fraud here, and like, whatever. And it was just fine. Turns out it was fine. Killed a moose too, Jared, but I'm not going to tell you anything more about that.
I know. I was about to enjoy some tonight.
Do you make some?
I've got it thawed right now. I got a big steak thawing out. I'm gonna. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it yet, but
Nice.
I want to try I want to sous vide mine and then like reverse sear it. I think that's going to be my like first go at like steak other than when we were in camp. Should be pretty good.
mm-hmm.
The sous vide's the way to go. I did my first sous vide backstrap with actually this guy from Kentucky, and it was fantastic. Like, had that thing going for 5 hours. I think at like 119, reverse seared that bad boy, and it was like you could cut it with a spoon.
I remember that buck.
Was that the one we shot? Because just for history for everybody listening, we first met Ryan. He was at Huntwise or Kelkmai, I guess,
Yep.
and that's how we got to know each other, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's crazy. I guess, was that a year ago?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what Jared
yesterday,
was
a
saying.
year ago, yesterday, I shot my buck.
That's crazy. Time flies.
Just a couple bottles of bourbon and a good campfire, and you can get to know somebody.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that was a good buck. I liked I feel like it's a lot of those bucks look like the one you shot. Mine had a similar kind of tight, kind of high, tight looking.
Yeah,
I like
high
that look.
rack, and it looked even better on the ground. Like, I know a lot of people say they get smaller when you get down on the ground with them, but I came down and I was like, dude, this is a good buck. And I remember, if you remember, it kind of had like that, it looked like a growth on its stomach, and that's why Jake had passed on it, and they put me on there. I was like, hey man, it's my first shot with the bow. And then as the guide was taking care of everything and processing it, field dressing rather, he was just like, dude, this meat's perfect. Like that. So it worked out great. That buck is delicious. It was eating well out there in Kentucky.
I can't believe, was that Jake Belinda that was passing on it?
Yep.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
a
he
loser.
had,
Who passes? I got to get
We
Jake
gave
back
him
on
shit
here.
for doing that because he ended
he
up not even
deserved
shooting
it.
anything.
Did he not get one?
No, he didn't. He passed that buck, and then Ryan went out
Loser.
there and whacked him.
Well, yeah, he's more of a diehard hunter. I saw he killed a big elk this year, but I was happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy came over and pulled out his phone. He's like, hey, would you shoot that buck? I was like, of course I would. And then it was so funny because I was just sitting in the tree. I think everybody was like group texting, and then Jake texted me and he's like, hey, be ready. He comes from the left, and then I don't know, 20 minutes might have passed, and then here this guy comes from the left, and the rest is history.
That's awesome.
That was a great time. That was a fun group chat too, because the hunting was hot and it was action packed. Every night was like, boom, one down. It's like, oh yeah, every night was celebrating. It was a good week.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
All right, we're going to take a pause here real quick and just thank a few more guys and companies that help make this show possible. First up is Vortex. We can't say it enough. We love their glass. We love their binoculars, spotting scopes, rangefinders, their apparel. James is rocking a nice little hoodie here. They make awesome stuff. And if you guys are looking to make a purchase at Vortex, go over to their website and use the code TFC20 to save yourself 20% on the next purchase. That's a big, good discount. Use it. Head over there and get something.
A bow makes a man.
Does
And
it?
yeah, that's what I was told. And we're big fans of Prime Bows. Shooting it for years, Michigan-based company. We're shooting their latest Revix series of bows. Mine's that 36 long boy.
I'll
this year.
generally take a few shots right back here and just.
Yeah, we're huge fans. Smooth, great balance. They're just go check them out. There's tons of technology. One of my favorite things that they have is their grip. Space age technology keeps your hand warm even when it's cold. Highly recommend. Go check out Prime Archery. Finally, Lathrop and Sons boots. Your feet kill animals. Like the more you walk, the more chances you have at getting that big buck, that big elk, moose, whatever it is. Lathrop and Sons have been kind of our go-to boot of choice for a while now. We've put in a lot of miles, taken them all over the place. There's no leaking. It's comfortable. Stephen and James there they're like foot scientists.
They're geniuses. I got messed up feet, and they basically will, you take an imprint of your foot. They'll look at it, look at your arch, how wide it is, how narrow, how long, and they literally build the boot around your foot. So you're not going to a box store and picking up something that you hope is going to fit your boot. These things actually are tailor-made to your foot. So they're super comfortable. Mine, I could walk all day in them. So if you're looking to get a boot, if you're looking for a boot that's made for you and not somebody else, go check out Lathrop and Sons.
So, Ryan, in that time you've been at you moved to Christensen from Kalkamai. You're kind of in the marketing side of things. How's it going so far? I mean, you're entering an interesting market, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. If you would have asked me 3 years ago if I thought I would be director of digital marketing for a firearms company, I probably would have just laughed. I'd spent the first decade, 11 years of my career working for a marketing agency, and then made a change, went to Kalkamai, was doing the boater and hunter safety, and then here comes HuntWise and all these awesome people who love to hunt, and they were like, hey, you gotta get into this. So yeah, it's crazy. Jared and I were talking. My last day with Kalkamai was Friday, January 12th, and the next morning, 7 or 8 a.m., I was on a flight to Las Vegas and started my career with Christensen at SHOT Show. My first SHOT Show, still pretty new. I mean, I've hunted, I've shot before, but by no means I'm learning, but really didn't know anything about guns. So they just threw me in the deep end, and gosh, I mean, here we are almost 9 months later, and it feels like a lot longer in a really good way, because I have learned so much throughout the process, and we've accomplished so much this year. So I'd say it's going awesome. We've got a fantastic team. It doesn't hurt when you work for a world-class company. They make some pretty incredible products, but yeah, it's just been an absolute blast. And then circling back with you guys and, Jesse and the Grizz team, just a lot of the relationships I forged, and even just people that Nate introduced me to, because he's such a phenomenal networker. It's just cool to kind of get to expand within the space and see what everybody's doing, because it's a really fun industry where everybody just connects and supports each other, and so I'm just having a ball.
Yeah, it's cool, and I've been thinking though to jump into firearms, I feel like marketing has to be different in that category. The way you spend money, I mean, you have a lot of extra rules and political pressures and a lot of weird things that you're dealing with, I would imagine.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And even, I mean, you just think about, we've got, I think, 137,000 followers on Instagram. And it just, even to get a decent percentage of our audience to see our content, we're so suppressed in the algorithm. We'll do some cool collab posts, and there are a lot of headwinds in this industry. And then you couple that with the fact that you can't really spend money. There's not a ton of opportunities. You really have to go with the publications, and not to say there aren't opportunities. You can go and have a good media budget, but it's definitely been a learning curve for me, just really understanding what's possible, what's not, and how do you get creative. And a lot of it just comes back to creating awesome content.
Yeah. Yeah, and that we're actually excited. We've got 2 Christensen films, Christensen sponsored films coming out. It's actually killing me to not release them. One is ready, and we're waiting till spring, which hurts me in the soul. And the other one is apparently our camera guy texted us. And he goes,
Yeah.
I did the first chunk of our video film. I guess we call it. I always call it video.
Teaser.
We call
Teaser.
it films. The teaser of it. He's like, I showed it to a few. What did he say? A small focus group.
Yeah.
his weird friends. I don't know who it was. I showed it to a small focus group, and it went over real well, or something like that. And then he won't send it to us. So I have no idea what it looks like. He doesn't really want our input ever either until the end, really, because I feel like we're gonna mess up his artistic flow or something. Maybe I will.
Shut up, Jordan.
Yeah, show us the video, man.
No.
So yeah, no,
That's awesome. I can't wait to see it. Both of them.
Yeah, you've seen
you guys you've just teased. Well, yeah, no. You have. I think you've sent me the full one from Alaska.
I don't know. I think I have.
Yeah, I think you have. No, you did, because we talked about it, and I love the way you guys kind of tied everything together in the story.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I just go back
Don't
and
spoil it. No, just kidding. Go ahead. Yeah, you're good.
No, I just go back and look at those photos and live vicariously through that, and then yeah, I'm stoked. I have other than the fact that you got a phenomenal moose, I know nothing about that trip.
Good. It's got to stay that. It's got to stay that way for a little while.
Although, don't listen to. I was on Mark Peterson's podcast last Friday, and I told the whole story there. So don't listen to that if you want to be surprised. Jared, stay away from that.
Damn it.
So cool. That's cool. Things at Christensen going well. You guys are, working with some really cool people, from all over the place. Somebody from WWE to all over the place. How are you finding people, or how are you growing this kind of unique group of ambassadors?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, some of it is just, kind of through industry relationships, and then other things are people kind of coming to us. So Natalie Eva Marie, who you mentioned, WWE superstar, she's incredible, total badass, kind of just took the hunting world by storm recently. She came by the booth at SHOT. We met her and her husband, Jonathan, really hit it off. They're awesome people. And, just everybody in the firearms space really wanted to work with them. And then she went on, got into bow as well, was on Campaign's podcast, did lift, run, shoot. And then, just circled back. We ended up reconnecting and thought it was a great fit. She just really loved the brand, and we love what she's about, and really understanding where your food comes from, really sustainable meat, ethical hunting. Just a lot of her why behind hunting just really resonates with us. So that worked out great. And then Leighton Vander Esch, Dallas Cowboy, who
he's a bad
scored
man.
a touchdown. Yeah, dude, he's incredible. Cowboys smashed the Patriots last night. He scored a touchdown, which was awesome. But he's a legacy hunter, one of the nicest human beings you'll ever meet. So his dad, he grew up in Idaho. They're big hunters. His dad guides wolf and bear up in Alaska, and he's been shooting Christensen for a while. And I think his dad actually talked to some folks in the booth, and that just kind of happened organically. So I think a lot of it's just kind of, I don't know, I guess we're kind of a magnet. People come around and it just kind of ends up working out. And then we've had some other people that we work on some projects with that are just kind of you see people on Instagram or get an introduction from somebody in the space. So it's really interesting kind of seeing how all this stuff comes about.
Yeah, I gotta ask this. I don't know why this came to my mind, but last we talked, you were working on getting your rifle made, and did you get your rifle?
Yeah, I did. So I got the Ridgeline FFT. I got the green with the burnt bronze. It looks awesome. I got that 300 Win Mag. So I went out. I still need to get it fully dialed in for deer season down here, but got some pretty good groups on paper. I definitely need to work on shooting because you're around people at this company and they talk about shooting 1,000 yards so much that I'm just oh, okay, this must be easy. And I get out and look at 100 yards and I'm this is pretty far. So I got that thing dialed in, finally threw my suppressor on it, which helped out a ton. But Jared and I were talking. I've got a couple whitetail hunts with some buddies around here, and I'm itching to get out and let that thing rock.
Dude, it's so sweet. I have it in those same colors. in 300 Win Mag. I like what bullets you got? I like the Barnes, or at least my gun like the Barnes.
Yeah, I got Hornady. Seth over at Hornady took good care of me. I think it's I'm trying to think, not the ELDX. I'll have to go back and look at them. They're sitting in my closet, but yeah, some really good Hornady bullets.
Yeah, well, like you say, it's like people talk about shooting 1,000 yards and stuff, and like that's like Joe will always be around and be like, oh, 1,000 yards, I'm so great, well,
5-inch groups,
whatever, yeah. And like you said, having grown up in Michigan, every deer shot I took, half the time it was running, and it was with my open sights, not even through a scope. And like the farthest I had ever shot a deer was 250 yards with that was it. So like at any of those long shots, we get to moose camp, and the guide's like, well, how far are you comfortable shooting? And I was like, how far are you comfortable with me shooting? I don't want to answer that question because I'm about to tip my hand and how good so of course I doubled what I could do in a deer. I figure 500 yards I could smash a moose pretty well. So thankfully it didn't come to that. There's a spoiler for you, Jared.
Damn
it. Yeah, it's crazy. Like we'll go to trade shows and stuff, and people come in the booth and like, oh, check out this mule deer I shot at 600 yards. With the ridgeline. We had a young kid. I think he was like maybe 13 or 14. Sent us an inquiry through our website, and he had shot a whitetail like 900 yards. Which that would be crazy. I'd have to practice a ton for that. But yeah, just the distances people can hit from, it's mind-boggling.
Joe was telling me some of the best. So he'll do like a volunteer thing for kids, like teaching kids how to use firearms or whatever. He's like, sometimes those are the best shooters, because like the kids who have never shot before, so they'll come up, they've got no bad tendencies,
no bad habits.
No, they're not like, I need to get a bullseye, 10 ring or whatever, or I'm worthless. They just go up with no expectations, no background, and it's like there's basically no clutter in their head, and they can poke far. So I think that's why, Jared, you don't shoot your bow at all, right? So you can just have a clear mind when the time comes. Is that
exactly?
Is that it?
Are you comparing me to a child?
Yeah. There we go. Thank you.
Okay, I'll remember that.
Yeah, solid.
Can I go back to that long shot that you said, like your longest shot on a whitetail? Was that the shot over the swamp?
Yeah, from that really tall stand. Yeah. We have this stand.
60-footer.
Yeah, I'm not. It was at least 60. It was like different. My uncle built it, and it was in a pine tree. So it was like sometimes you'd be climbing on pine branches. Sometimes it was like sticks, and sometimes it was like a ladder that was up there, or screw-ins. And so it's like different sets of different things. But I think I talked about this in the podcast, but I shot a deer every single time I sat there. Every single time you basically go, it's over a swamp, and anytime there's pressure, like just deer pile in. And so I've always been, especially when I was hunting this was built, I was like older high school, in college, and that was when I did not discriminate. If it was a doe, I'm shooting it every single time. We shot so many does, practicing good, solid deer management, of course. But it was over that spot, like Jared. Have you ever hunted actually up there?
Oh yeah, I was up there in a small blizzard. I couldn't see too much farther than like 50 yards, but yeah, I climbed up there. It took a long time to climb up there.
It did.
It was scary. There's no lifeline. You just hop into that thing.
No lifeline. You need like 3 lifelines connected. Just one long super lifeline.
Slip and
you'll just hit branches and kind of it'll all break your fall.
Yep. Exactly.
That's what I assumed would happen. Eventually, like a bough would catch you, like 10 feet down below you, and it just kind of nestle you. So I felt always pretty safe up there. I'll say this, and I'm not condoning this behavior because it's bad and just whatever. But I never wore a safety harness up there. It was one of those tree stands that was so tucked in, and it had that bar that went in front of you.
Gun rail.
So the gun rail. Thank you. I would literally just crawl in there. It's like I had my big camo onesie I'd throw on when I get to the top, and life was good.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was where I shot it. What's your longest shot?
Crazy.
Either of
Me,
you. Yeah. What's your longest shot on an animal?
100 yards.
Jared? A couple hundred yards, probably.
Dude. 50.
50 yards is your with a gun?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's. I
Yeah.
mean, even last year, that one you smashed. Yeah, dude, that was a close shot too. You know what? You're just a bow hunter, man. You're a bow hunter living in a gun hunter's world.
That was with the old 5.56 last year.
Yeah.
Some people will frown on that, but it was a heavier grain bullet.
You
It
were
did the
committed to
job.
making it happen.
Yeah, I wanted to try it. People said, "Oh no, it'll kill a deer," and other people like, "Don't ever do it." It's like, well, I'm gonna do it.
And it
So
worked just fine.
Smashed them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
50
funny.
yards.
There's not a yeah, there's not a better way to just like, yeah. I mean, Jared, you've been gun hunting. You're what 30, almost. You're turning 36. You've been gun
No,
hunting
dude,
since
I'm
you're.
a fresh 35.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're May.
No, you're 36 now, aren't you?
No, I'm 35.
Oh, then I'm 36. What? No,
Yeah,
I'm 35.
no, you're right. You know, we're 35. Anyways, that I can't believe that is a really dumb conversation. So you've been hunting for whatever, long time, 20 years, we'll say. And the longest you've shot at a deer, and you've hunted a lot. It's 50 yards. I mean, right?
Yeah, so I guess in order to have that 100-yard shot, you're hunting a field edge,
Right.
right? And I've never had, opportunity to hunt on private land to offer me that type of shot. So most of my shots are in a dense northern Michigan woods where I've got, 50, maybe 60 yards if you can poke through like some lanes. But other than that, man, that's all I've had. If we were in Alaska, we could have possibly shot a bear at 280.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny though. Even when we go west, like I went bear hunting in Montana, and I shot mine at 70 yards.
Yeah.
The moose was 100 yards. I don't know. You would think it'd be farther, but I don't know. But yeah, but again, most of the hunting we do is in Michigan, and that's just thick swamp. There's nothing. There's just no long distance.
Well, that's what Jared and I were talking about before you jumped on too. It's like Texas hunting's different, at least the type that I have come into. I mean, I'm 2 years into hunting, and you get feeders down here, and you get your elevated blind set up about 100, 125 yards away, and that's really what you're looking at. Because most of it's just kind of like either you've got a spot, maybe you've got your lease, or you've got a buddy or somebody who can hook you up and get you out there, and it's kind of dialed in. So it's just funny how different hunting is, and that was something that I didn't really know a whole lot about, but where you guys are at the hunting versus where we're at versus where our headquarters is out in Utah is a complete different animal. I mean, they are 400 or 500 yard shots, or that's
Normal.
the norm.
Yeah. If you think of a guy in plaid, red plaid, and the thick woods, that's Michigan. That classic look is basically what we're dealing with. When you're in, are you having are people pretty generous with hunting permission in Texas? Is it pretty easy to be hey, can I hunt your land?
I've never actually asked anyone. I've gotten lucky. One of my best friends has a lease down in Central Texas that he's been on forever. He's the sole lessee now.
Yeah.
So he goes out there and he's been hunting with his dad, and then he's got 3 boys. Actually, just had twins again. He's 50. I think he's about to be 53. Got all the kids out, and then went ahead and had twins again, which is fantastic. So
that's going to be Jared, by the way.
No.
This is Jared. He's going to go for 6.
No. I'm not even going for 5. Is that enough?
Get a hockey team plus a backup.
I almost do. I almost have a starting lineup.
That's crazy. But yeah, so he's got land out there, and then my sister and soon-to-be brother-in-law have some acreage east of Dallas, and Chase sends me some pretty cool trail cam photos, and he's actually got me into hog hunting as well, which now that you want to talk about access, that is a way, if you were to go out to a farmer, landowner, or somebody, just because of how much damage those things do, I think you would have a lot higher success rate if you went in and said, hey, got a hog problem, let me, come out with a thermal and take a couple off the property. But, I know people do it. I just don't have any experience. But that being said, with like 90% of the land private, if you like to hunt and you find people who like to hunt, the chances of you getting an opportunity are fairly high, because that's what people just love to bring their friends in, especially like for me, when people are like, oh, you haven't hunted before, or you're pretty new to the sport, like they're very accepting and kind of want to bring you in. So, to get out, it's not super hard.
That's a solid strategy. Jared, let's go to our strategy should be going forward. We're kind of new to hunting and we just want to try it out. Can we like hunt in your land, and like see what happens?
Dude, he just walked right in front of me. Didn't even know what I was
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah. That's sweet. Yeah, hog hunting looks really good, really fun. You've been doing
It's
that a little
fun.
bit more. It looks like. Did you do it fairly recently? I thought I saw.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can get out and do that because it's year round, and like there are no tags. You don't even have to have like hunter safety certification, which is crazy. But yeah, I mean, they're just so pervasive. But that was actually, it was pretty funny. Was the order of operations there? So we had our Calcamai Christmas party, and then the next night I drove out to. It's not quite East Texas, like an hour and a half east of Dallas, and Chase and I were hunting. And at the time, they were building their house, so we were sleeping in a yurt, which was pretty funny. And so he and I were walking around all night scanning, didn't really see anything, and we had put some bait out into kind of the middle of this hayfield. So we get back, and we were getting ready. He's got an old 1500 that his brother just left, and he's like, "Here, just keep this truck here." And he pulls the fuses out, so like none of the lights on this thing's work. And we'll just creep around the property. And dude, it's a thing of beauty. He knows his property like the back of his hand. So it'll be fully pitch black, and we're like cruising through the woods. But anyway, so we were about to jump in that thing, and he's like, let's just go scan one more time. So we're scanning with the thermals, and all of a sudden you just see this blob in the middle of the field. And he was like, come on, let's go. And it was like, for us, it was really cold. It was like 29 degrees. So we stalked all the way out there and got to about 40 yards. And it was, sure enough, it was a big hog. So I ended up shooting that hog, and we went and found it's like a 150-pound hog. And at that point, I was hooked. And then the next day, I got up, drove 2.5 hours. Yeah, it was about 2 hours and 20 minutes back home. And then my buddy Neil came and picked me up, and he went to his lease, and I shot my first deer the next day.
You've been doing well, and like that. I mean, you jumped in fairly late in life, but not really. And you're catching up like fast. Like the deer behind you, it took me many years to have anything like that on my wall. Many years and many hours of disappointment.
Yeah, no, thanks. I mean, that was lucky. I mean, I was lucky that I had that opportunity to come out with y'all, and yeah, just to have that deer come out and make the shot with the bow. That was pretty exciting. And yeah, got another. It's funny, in that first trip when I got my first whitetail, which was super small, the first shot I ever took at a deer, I missed. Buck fever, dude. My heart was beating out of my chest. I was shaking. Shot and missed, and we found like a little tuft of hair on the ground. So I just grazed it, no blood or anything. And it was a pretty good looking older 6-point. Well, last year we go back, it was like full rut, and me and my buddy Neil like jump into the blind. It was like 3:00 in the afternoon. We'd gotten some kind of ranch chores done. Get in there, and all of a sudden these two does come flying out of the back, like probably, 30 yards away from the feeder. And lo and behold, here comes that 6-point, like out of the woodwork, chasing these does. And I dropped him right there. So I've actually got him hanging in my office back at work.
I've seen him in the back. I've seen him talking to you before, hanging out behind you.
Yeah. This one's definitely a lot nicer, but that one's kind of a fun story.
I've got a couple like that are not like giants, but it's like the way you got them is kind of cool,
Yeah.
What we need to do is introduce you to like a true northern deer camp style thing. We haven't. He's probably you've never done that, right? I mean, you got to do. It's a Michigan,
Michigan deer
cultural
camp
thing, man.
Yeah.
Michigan deer camp. Like, there's PA's got one similar, and so does like Wisconsin. But I mean, Michigan is like true blue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would love to.
Got to get you up, and you can get a crack at a doe, or maybe if you see one.
So we're giving them away.
Yeah, that's basically where we're at now. We have a podcast coming up on the just for listeners here on the deer, the quality deer, basically deer in Michigan will be coming out soon. We try to do one of those once a year, and we've got one coming, a recording coming here soon, which I'm excited for because there's a lot of interesting things that Michigan does in relation to its deer. So
Yeah, what's the deal with that? Not to go down like too deep a rabbit hole there, but like I do hear it's like it seems like it's a lot of doe hunting up there. Like what's the deal? Are there just not a lot of bucks, or is that kind of part of like how they manage the population?
I would say a couple things. I think people tend to do that about Michigan. I mean, Michigan's not that bad. I mean, it's not as good as a lot of other states, but a lot of guys who don't have success or whatever will say, "Oh, there's just no bucks out there." It's like, no, there definitely are. They're just hard to find, and they're But Michigan has a history and a culture of shooting bucks, anything with antlers, and not shooting does. And so places like up in the UP or up north had like a tradition of like really great deer hunting. Like Fred Bear, spent a lot of time up here, up north, and like a lot of good stuff. There's a specific gas station on the way to the UP, and I'm not kidding. People who are in Michigan, it's shocking how many people know of this gas station. I don't even need to say where it's from or where it is, but it's got walls of these giant whitetail, right? So the problem was everybody would shoot whatever deer, and we kind of mismanaged our population for a long time. And so at this point, we had some rebounds, especially in some areas, due to some antler point restrictions. So you can only shoot something with 3 on the side or 4. We were kind of hunting in areas that were all 4 on the side or bigger, and that actually worked really well. And the quality of the deer that we saw was like jumped huge.
Oh yeah,
that's cool.
But we've since reversed it, and now it's gone again. So
it's gone, and now you can have, what is it, up to 10 doe tags you can get?
They basically up doe tags, which we need, in my opinion. Definitely need to manage the doe population because there is a high one. But they basically said they did that antler point restriction as a test to see if it manages CWD. CWD, yeah. And which doesn't make sense for how CWD works whatever. That's neither here nor there. And they said, well, the results were kind of inconclusive. I had talked to somebody on the phone for like an hour about this at the DNR, and that they were like, well, it didn't work, so we had to take it away. I'm like, well, I tried to debate with him. I don't know why I was debating at that point. The guy had no control over anything. He was just reporting information. But I was upset and I was passionate about it, And so, anyway, so the long and the short of it is we've not managed our deer particularly well for a while. And so our hunting is not as great as it once was, but it's better than it was before. A lot better than it was, in my opinion. At least where I'm hunting, it's definitely better than even growing up.
I also think it's a lot has to do with the hunting shows and everyone showing like, hey, on in public areas there are big deer out there, and I think a lot of people like shooting big deer whether or not they want to admit it or not. If you put a small buck or a Pope and Young or a Boone and Crockett buck out there, I mean you're not gonna shoot the small buck. Everyone likes shooting big bucks, whether they like to admit it or not. So that argument of people, I just want the meat. I don't know.
You shoot a doe then, man.
Yeah, I have a bad argument, or have a bad taste in my mouth for people who say that, just because, if you really are a meat hunter, then you won't shoot any big bucks, right? If there's one out in front of you,
yeah.
I mean, the bigger buck is going to have more meat on it than what a doe is. So why not just let that deer mature a little bit more? I don't know. Kind of going down a little rabbit hole in my head, but I hope that made sense, because in my head it's just burning hot.
But it's what culture is. It's like you go shoot your buck. Like if you've ever seen the movie Escanaba in the Moonlight.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Ryan? You ever seen that movie?
I have not.
We're gonna have to watch it at deer camp now.
We're gonna have to watch it. It's Jeff Daniels at his finest, and it's about he's a buckless youper. He has never shot a buck, and it's about it starts as like a funny, like comedy a little bit, and then it goes dark. So scary, man. When I first watched it, it freaked me out. The DNR that comes to the house singing Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. Yeah. Anyways, you will watch it at deer camp, but I mean, the guy in the movie is a buckless Uber. He's never shot a buck, and it's like he walks down the street and people are laughing at him, like,
Boom.
yeah, yeah. He gets booed and stuff. Kids on the bus are smacking the windows, laughing at him. Hey, buckless Uber. Hey, buckless. So that I mean, that really is true of like culture in Michigan. It's like you don't shoot a doe, you just go shoot your buck for the year, and
Yep.
that hasn't been so great for us.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So we have strong opinions about that. We talk about it quite a bit. Those are episodes that are generally geared more towards the Michigan viewers. Some guys will occasionally look on like where people are listening from. It's some random country or whatever, and it's like, well, this podcast was not relevant for that person,
Oh,
yeah.
love it.
So you got some deer hunts planned this year, Ryan. What else? You got anything else fun?
Yeah, that's really it. So, in terms of me personally, just probably, I don't know, I would love to think that I can get 3 different weekends in, but pretty exciting. We've got some cool content projects coming up. I can't say too much about the one, but we've got a hunt coming up. Actually, I'll be there 2 weeks from today in kind of on the border of Colorado and Wyoming. So we've got a couple folks going out for an elk hunt, and we're doing like full on photo, video, just going to capture a lot of content. And that's at a world-class ranch, which I'm really excited about, which kind of talking about like how things come together was just really interesting. One of our ambassadors met a couple guys from this ranch at an archery event, made an introduction, and now we're bringing people up there to go on an elk hunt. So pretty funny how things materialize. And then earlier this year, we connected with an incredible woman. Her name's Chris Cook, husband Mike Cook. They're super involved. He's a SEAL. They're very involved in that community, like super supportive of everybody in the military. Anyway, they've got a bunch of different programming that they do, but Chris kind of put together a whole, it started with archery and then spilled over into rifle. It's basically supporting Gold Star wives whose husbands unfortunately lost their lives. And so they're kind of going through a healing process and really kind of like wanting to put themselves through something challenging, something similar to what their husbands went through. And so got to go out there. That was just absolutely unreal, being able to present these women with the rifles. And, we had their husbands' initials engraved on the barrels, and talking about half-face blades, like Airbito was out there helping them get dialed in. It was pretty surreal. And so all of that is culminating with a whitetail hunt in Georgia at the end of the month. So I'm flying out there. They're going to go through and do a whitetail hunt. And then next year, they're doing an archery elk hunt, like full-on horse backpacking in hardcore. So this is going to kind of be like this stair stepping up to that. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's honestly one of the most meaningful project I've ever worked on in my career. So yeah, a couple really cool things happening. And then Jared and I were talking, like, before we know it, we'll be at SHOT Show and Western Hunt, Safari Club. Like, it's just, time's flying.
Holy cow. Yeah, and you'll be a year down at that point.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's a cool project though. I saw you had been posting about it. You had mentioned it to me a little while ago, and was looking forward to seeing that. So to see take it further is cool. Really fun to watch.
Yeah, there'll be some cool content. We'll have like a full film, but we'll have like some teaser stuff coming soon, because Chris has a big gala that's actually going to take place on the USS Midway out in San Diego. So it's just a phenomenal cause, and it was something that when she kind of approached us and said, hey, if there was a rifle component, would y'all want to get involved? And it was just like, yeah, how do we get involved? So it's been really, really cool, and I'm just super blessed to have been able to work on that.
That's so cool. Yeah, man, you're making an impact. I mean, since you've been there, and so there's been like a new kind of just change in what you guys have been even putting out and talking, how you talk and to the market, and it's been fun. So we appreciate what you're doing, and for everybody who's listening who wants more information from Ryan Christensen, follow you, see what you're up to, and all the stuff you're putting out, where can they check you out?
Yeah, so I mean, ChristensenArms.com. You can check us out on Instagram at Christensen Arms, or on Facebook as well. Really starting to ramp up at least you won't see it just yet, but more content for YouTube. We're going to be doing more blog content. We've actually got a podcast that'll be kicking off here in the next month or so. So, like I said, James, will be hitting you up for some advice here on do's and don'ts and all of that. But yeah, just that's really the best way to learn about us is hit the website. We've really been doing a lot to try to improve that and tell more of the brand story and educate on the things you said, like why does carbon fiber matter? What are the benefits and, stuff like that. And then, of course, things like the promotion, just really trying to help people out because I know money's tight. So we really feel good with that promotion and just helping people get as much value. It's like you're going to invest. Go ahead and, we always joke, buy once, cry once. But if you are going to make that investment, might as well get some extra stuff with it.
Those bipods, check out those Christensen bipods. Can you get a bipod with your
Yeah.
Get those, man. Those are sick. Yeah.
Those things are, the Spartan bipods, that Valhalla, oh my God.
So sick.
That on anything, but like when you pair it with the modern precision rifle, it's just like game over. It's
filthy.
It looks so good. That's actually the next purchase I make is going to be an MPR. My brother-in-law got one in 6.5 Creedmoor, and he's like shooting 500 yards on the side of his property. He's like, dude, this is the best gun I've ever owned, and it's just stupid accurate.
Those 6.5s, man, they're cool. I mean, there's like a lot of debate, hot, fiery debate about them, but like, there's a reason why so many people love them. They are like a very shootable, very accurate rifle.
Yeah, the 6.5 Creed, 6.5 PRC is a super hot round as well. Yep. People love the 300. I mean, Jesse got one of our rifles. He got his in 7 PRC, and that thing is a freaking hammer.
Yeah, that's a sweet rifle.
Do you see that Aoudad he shot with it in West Texas? And then he went out and did work in Africa. Like he's heating up with that thing.
Yeah, he's got the body count on that thing. Actual body count. Actually counts as an actual body count. Yeah, we just wait till Jared gets through deer season though. You're gonna see. You've never seen so many pictures of him standing over dead does, button bucks.
Lethal.
Yeah, just a couple of button bucks. But if you angle the picture right, it looks like a doe. So
just leave it back, guys.
And it's a little editing. Just round out the nubs on the top, and you're fine. QDM
editor.
QDM, quality deer management. Hashtag quality deer management, and just you round out the head, make it a slick head. Oh, that's sweet. Well, Ryan, thanks for coming on today. Appreciate you guys and what you're doing. I will say, like my FFT is like by far my favorite rifle I've had.
Yes,
shot 100%. A few over the past couple of years, especially kind of ramped it up as I got a little older, and really like the lightness, and just how well it shoots. So yeah, huge fans.
Awesome.
Keep it up. Keep doing what you're doing. And everybody go check Christensen out. Give Ryan a follow and listen again next week. Thanks. We'll see you soon.
Awesome. Thanks.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening to this episode. We really do appreciate it. If you want to go on to any kind of social media platform, give us a like, share, subscribe. It'd really help us out. Keeps the train rolling. And if you guys really like what you're listening here, give us a 5-star.
Either way, even if you don't like it.
Even if you don't like it, 5 stars. Helps everyone out.
We'll see you out there.